So first question we have today comes from Supra98X in the Discord. Here's one. Knowing the Sixers may very well match up with Boston in round 1, how do you feel about our chances with a healthy team?
I specifically told you not to pick this one because it's too depressing for a Friday afternoon show.
Too damn bad, Derek.
They match up poorly. I actually feel, because I know a lot of people right now are real down on the team and their playoff chances. I actually feel like this team, when Joel Embiid comes back, is built around Embiid better than they have been through most of his career. Now, granted, they spent a lot of time with Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz and Tobias Harris eating up salary cap space and minutes and shots. So they've never been built around Joel Embiid well. But with the addition of Buddy and with the growth of Tyrese Maxey and some role players like Batum who fit Embiid well, I actually think they're pretty well positioned to play off of his strengths. So I think they are equipped better than normal to play around Joel in the playoffs and give him a chance to succeed in the playoffs if he comes back healthy, but almost uniquely ill-equipped to go up against the Boston Celtics, which ties into this question because I don't know how they match up with that team and all the size they have in the perimeter and the way they can, switch hunt and punish switches. The Sixers have a lot to punish. That's going to be a real tough matchup.
Which is why it was always brought up by
the video
trying
yearbook.
to stay away from them in the first round. I mean, not even in the first round, just trying to stay away from them until you get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Because
somebody else can pick them off.
Exactly. And the fact that the history is what the history is over the last 7 playoff appearances where they have had to face Boston. And the greatest chance that they had was last season in Game 6, going up 3-2 and trying to close it out at home. It didn't happen. So, yes, they took one of the games earlier in the regular season. Boston came back and snatched one away from them. And then we know what happened since then, especially with Embiid not being out there on the floor. You do see where they can get at Boston, but can they consistently play at that level against Boston to, again, knock them off in the series? That's where the matchups come into question.
Yeah.
So here's what I would say. I don't feel good about a round 1 matchup. One, Joel Embiid will not be 100% or whatever. We can pick a number that he would be at. He's not going to be at like full game, mid-season, or really end-of-season conditioning that you need to be at. And so even if I were to give you the optimist case on how they match up player by player, position by position, the fact of the matter is if they don't have close to or at 100% Joel Embiid, they're not beating Boston. Like Boston is a good enough team that they will they will exploit. And they've exploited Joel defensively in the past with a worse group of offensive personnel, right? Spreading the floor, playing stretch bigs, forcing him to close out, having him switch so he has to defend Tatum for long stretches of time. So they can do that better than they ever have now with Porzingis. You could basically have a stretch big between him and Horford on the floor at all times. You got Derek White, who has been even better now. You got Drew Holiday, who has upgraded the team. There are no real weaknesses beyond the top or inside the top 6 or 7 guys. Yeah. They have a really strong top 6 or 7. So no, I don't think they match up well. If they could get Joe healthy, I do think he, at least in flashes, has shown that he can beat up this matchup worse than before. Porzingis is going to have a hard time guarding him. I know they're going to send doubles and they're going to send help, but they have a decent amount of shooting around him between Batum, Hield, Maxey, in theory, Tobias Harris, which I have to note it's in theory. Where I really think the series would be lost is defensively. I think, to Derek's point, there are too many pressure points that you can hit. And even if I were to sit here and say, all right, I'm an optimist on how Maxey would perform based on that recent game where, he got into Jaylen Brown, he got into Jason Tatum, had a good night on defense there. There are too many other guys. And there are too many other guys who have issues that are not guarding your man. They're guarding in team defense and being aware and keeping your head on a swivel. There are too many, let's say, lackadaisical defenders on the team against Boston.
Melton and Covington would be helpful.
Yes.
Healthy
they have
in the
a really
series.
unique combination of being bad at the point of attack and also being ball watchers off the ball, which is not great.
Very bad combination, especially with the way the league has shifted to perimeter play over the last, 20 years or so.
We all silly like the mayor.